Yo, so I have COVID today. I have like a crazy flu. I've lost like 7 pounds this week so far from just throwing up my face out. But I can't just sit and do nothing anymore. I'm so insanely bored. So today we're doing the React to Gojicenter video while on COVID challenge. It's gonna be insane because if I laugh once, I'm gonna go into like a 20-minute coughing fit and probably die. So leave a like on the video down below. Sorry, I look weirdly pale. I haven't got weirdly more pale than usual. I haven't gone outside in like a week, dude. I feel like death. And of course, subscribe to Gojicenter. They're almost at 1 million subs, dude. And let's get it going. 10 brutal ways to get murked in Primal.
Our journey through the blood-stained lands of Primal continues as we encounter a brand new set of creatures that won't think twice before turning you into a fleshy pulp. In this episode, we will put our test subjects through a series of horrific simulations that will make you think twice before you travel through the wilderness alone, showing off all sorts of weapons, kill methodologies, and breaking down in detail exactly how you will perish at the hands of these killers. If you can't get enough carnage and want to see even more, please take a split second to subscribe, hit that like button, and hold on tight while we review the new 10 Ways to Die in Jendi Tartatovsky's Primal Part 2.
Oh my god.
The first animal to discuss is a creature that brings death from above. But before we reveal this animal, we want to give a quick shout out to Raid for sponsoring this video, where you'll be...
I'm just gonna skip the raid thing because I keep coughing up a lung and every minute is precious. But if you guys haven't played raid, definitely support their sponsor because it enables epic videos like this. Also, sorry my voice sounds so weird. I think I'm dying.
They're sponsoring this video, and now
I'm not doing well.
Plunging killers. In the previous episode, we have made it clear that there is no place you can call safe in this world, especially if you're at the mercy of animals that make themselves present in open ground, or even in this case, open water. In episode 1 of season 2, we find Spear and Fang in the middle of the ocean and caught in the middle of a feeding frenzy. These animals you see here are known as ornithochirus, gigantic flying reptiles with beaks armed with few but very sharp, pointy teeth capable of grasping slippery prey such as fish.
Slippery prey?
You're gonna get caught. Now, in our simulation platform, we'll witness what happens whenever this reptile grips onto you and yanks you with these jaws. And it won't be pretty. Once these jaws snap into you, the teeth of this animal will pierce deep, potentially deep enough to make contact with your organs. These don't necessarily cut, but will begin to rip you. Since this animal isn't just airborne, its momentum in the air will cause it to begin ripping flesh, killing you in seconds.
Jesus!
Having flesh ripped from your body is one of the most painful sensations imaginable, and this is how you'll suffer.
I don't know, dude. Have you ever like hit your funny bone? I feel like that's gotta be one of the worst. That's such a stupid thing to say. I blame cough medicine for that.
Up next, we'll cover another animal with very sharp teeth, except these weapons are used differently. Number 2, a lethal bite.
Oh my god.
This world will never run short of predators that will make swift work of you. Up next on our list are the Smilodons, large feline predators gifted with a muscular build, deadly retractable claws on its paws, and large saber teeth that were used for nothing else but killing. So how would this feel like? In this show, the Smilodons are massive, and so are their heads, and consequently, these teeth would have sufficient length to manage to puncture your internal organs and possibly kill you in the process.
Well, there you go.
These were seen to dig deep in their victims' bodies. If you found yourself in the grasp of these sabers, expect these to feel like thick stab wounds, with the girth of each tooth cutting and expanding the wound, pushing any muscle fibers aside.
Good God.
You should realize that this happens very fast, but it's extremely painful nonetheless. These could even go as deep as making contact with your bone, if bitten on the leg, for instance. Any contact with bone will trigger nerve responses in your body that are translated as excruciating pain.
I like to think the adrenaline, you wouldn't feel anything. I remember one time I was in a fight with this kid and he had like a meat tenderizer on him. Basically, he swung it and I just got out of there. I wasn't about to fight a guy with a meat tenderizer and he's like, get that fist checked. And I looked down and my knuckle was completely busted open because he had swung it and hit me with it. I didn't even notice the adrenaline. I didn't even feel the pain yet. So it's like, I don't know. The body definitely protects you. Also, sorry if today's a gibberish day. It's COVID and cough medicine day, okay?
You'd be lucky
it's gibberish
if they
day.
bite you on the neck, sparing you from what could be one of the most painful deaths on this list. But we got lots of more pain to cover in this episode. Up next, we will discuss how an animal could not only bite hard, but crush its victim. Number 3, deadly ambush.
Deadly
In
bushes.
episode 10 of season 1, we find Spear and Fang fishing off the coast of their territory when all of a sudden they are surprised by another animal's prey running or swimming for her life. Then the predator. Now, it isn't 100% clear what the official name for this creature is, but it was mentioned to be a Tylosaur in the pitch animatic, but later said to be a Lioplurodon. Either way, getting killed by this monster will be nothing short of brutal. Let us explain. Getting clamped by this animal only means that this huge array of teeth and tremendous bite force would snap you right in half. Some people watching this may be under the impression that this test subject is immediately dead, but no. Your brain is still conscious. You can still see, and you'll be able to be alive for enough seconds to look down at your separated body. This lasts just a few seconds, since the blood loss will eventually catch up to your head. Your brain won't have enough oxygen to function, and then you pass out and die. Another animal capable of doing this was this creature, the giant crocodile, with the appropriate jaws and enough teeth to do the exact same thing. Up next, we're going to see another aquatic animal, but the aftermath would be a bit different than getting snapped by tooth-infested jaws.
Honestly, they don't seem like the worst ways to die, because I feel like you're not even going to register that the bottom half of your body's missing. You're just going to be like, what's up? And then I don't know, you're going to lose consciousness. Or it's one of the most excruciatingly painful things on the planet. I don't know.
Number 4, clean cut.
Oh, damn.
This next animal might come as a surprise to you, since it isn't immediately the first creature that pops into your head whenever you're thinking about deep-sea predators. This giant marine turtle dwarfs today's modern-day sea turtles, resembling an archelon. Believe it or not, turtles can pack a solid bite whenever they're hungry.
Archelon? I've been saying Archelion for like years, and with that Arc mod, Archelon? Damn it, dude, unbelievable.
But it's not so much the bite force that helps. Yes, it's considerably strong, but it's actually their sharp beak that does most of the cutting.
Not the corn.
These smaller turtles would be the equivalent of someone using sharp pliers on you. In the real world, these turtles, for instance, have strong enough bites to sever your fingers off. But what about this big fella? Well, it would be the same thing, but at a larger scale. Unlike the previous creature that relies on a tremendous bite force to snap you in two, this turtle now relies on its exceptionally sharp beak, which means that any part of your body that gets caught between these two mandibles would get cut right off. And not only that, it will be a nice, clean cut. If
That's
the
good,
previous
right?
bite kills you faster due to the brute force, this one wouldn't. You still die, but because the cut wasn't as violent, perhaps your body will pass out a tiny bit later, allowing you to witness this carnage for a slightly longer time. We'll take a break from the sea and move on to an animal that, unlike this turtle, will leave a huge mess. Number 5, mutilated.
Oh my God.
Next animal in this list is actually a creature domesticated for war. These are giant bears. They don't necessarily resemble the extinct Arctodus, but rather the modern-day grizzly bear, given that their muzzle is a lot more elongated. This and their impressive size makes these war mounts lethal war machines equipped with jaws with devastating bites, muscular forelimbs, and massive claws that will not just cut, but also destroy. Before we test these out on the test subject, let's first take a look at what real-life bears can do. If you didn't know, present-day grizzly bear paws are the size of dinner plates, dwarfing our own hands.
Dude, grizzly bears, for real though, I remember I saw footage of a grizzly attack in Russia. This guy had like a bite thing missing out of his ribcage. The bite, I can't even emphasize how big the bite was. The bear just ate him in half. It was insane, dude.
Claws can be anywhere from 2 to 4 inches in length.
Oh, I don't want to look at an injured bear. No, it's sad.
Forelimbs are oriented to perfectly inflict maximum swiping power. So much that there are around 15 accounts of bears reportedly slapping a moose's head from their bodies.
Jesus.
That's just this small grizzly bear.
But did you just say there's 15 accounts of bears decapitating mooses with a swipe? did you just say that? That's the most insane fact of nature I've ever heard in my life.
These guys? Well, let's enter the simulation platform and see what happens. Okay, so as we can see, this impact was projected in these parts of the bear's hands. Since most of the power was concentrated on these tips, they were easily capable of tearing through this test subject, crushing every vital organ in an instant, granting this fella a quick, almost painless death.
Well, there you go.
Doesn't end here. If you're pinned down by this bear, however, its massive jaws are big enough to bite down on your torso and literally rip through your ribcage, leaving a massive cavity on your body and a disgusting mess. Is this painful? Yes, but it wouldn't last long. Admittedly, there haven't been any historical accounts of bears being used for combat, but the next animal on this list was historically the most powerful and brutal war mount of all time. Number 6, Mangled.
Oh, man.
So, what were these beasts? Nothing else but war elephants. That's right, in the world of Primal, it would only make sense to also see these guys featured in combat. So how can these things kill? For starters, let us quickly give you a crazy history lesson that you'll never forget. Back in the day, before tanks dominated the battlefield, humanity leveraged the power of elephants, both African and Asian, who were domesticated and trained to follow commands, run into the battlefield, and go out and kill people. This also served as psychological warfare. In some cases, the troops in the opposing army had never in their life seen an elephant before, and witnessing a massive monster throwing his fellow soldiers into the air and mutilating them would only inflict terror in these soldiers and cause them to run away.
Dude, I'd never considered that with medieval battles, people using elephants, like a nation that has never seen elephants before. Could you imagine seeing a giant horned demon charging at you? Holy shit.
But the people controlling these elephants figured something else out, that these elephants could be used to execute people in pretty creative ways.
With their feet?
Back to Primal. These elephants were exceptionally massive, rivaling the size of these mammoths. A typical method of killing for these elephants was to stampede through the opposing army, mercilessly crushing anyone beneath their massive bodies. But some could get creative. There are historical accounts of elephants stepping on people and ripping up the remaining body parts with their trunks.
No way,
there
dude!
Were actual training schools that taught these things to elephants.
What?
We must mention that these animals were at times very clumsy and sometimes unreliable. Like any war machine, things don't always go perfect. Sometimes these guys would get spooked and trample over their own army. But let's quickly take a break from land creatures and return to the sea, where the most terrifying predator of the ocean awaits us. Number 7, Mega Jaws.
Mega Jaws.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is arguably the most feared sea-dwelling predator of all time. At least in this show. We first have to mention that the megalodon in this show resembles the great white shark more than it does the more accurate reconstruction of Ototus megalodon that existed a while ago. For the purposes of this series, that's a good thing, because this build allows this shark to move fast and be as deadly as its present-day descendant. As you might have guessed already, this creature's jaws are so wide that a small person like you would simply get swallowed.
Sorry, I had to pause it. I started coughing out of nowhere. Dude, COVID sucks. Okay.
Allows this shark to move fast and be as deadly as its present-day descendant. As you might have guessed already, this creature's jaws are so wide that a small person like you would simply get swallowed. So, how do you die here?
Oh God,
This
digested.
test subject didn't die from a heart attack upon witnessing these massive jaws rushing towards her. Once these jaws slam shut, you're going straight underwater. A megalodon of this size will take you down deep, where the water pressure is so strong you'll implode from the surrounding pressure. And that's it. That's
Oh my God!
Now, this
God!
is a mercy, considering that you would otherwise survive long enough to enter this creature's stomach. We aren't sure how megalodons' digestive systems were, but what we do know is that present-day sharks hold very strong acids in their stomachs. Some are corrosive enough to dissolve metal. So consider yourself lucky that you're small enough to avoid these teeth and fragile enough to get crushed by the water pressures.
Oh my
Really,
God,
the most
dude, look at
thrilling
that.
part of this experience is facing the shark itself. But now let's hop back on dry land, where another killer awaits. Number 8, killed by giants.
I don't know, dude. That imploded stuff.
Of Primal, you'll quickly realize that gigantism is a common phenomenon around here, and humans aren't exempt from it. Now, before we dispose of our test subject, we will introduce you to this guy, Kamau, a human of massive proportions and impressive strength. This fella belonged to a peaceful tribe of giants. After a tragic sequence of events, his daughter was held hostage by evil Queen Ima. You know, the test subject. Yes, her. Kamau was forced to fight and kill to ensure his daughter remained unharmed. Well, the victims of Kamau didn't have it easy. Similar to Krog and Mutated Spear from the previous episode, this guy's massive punching power would turn anyone into a pulp. Its hands would easily crush skulls, but any handheld weapon wielded by this man would simply be 100 times more powerful. In our simulation platform, we will allow Kamau to have another shot at getting back at the queen for all Okay, Kamau, that's a little too much, man.
Oh my God.
Seriously, dude, there are kids watching.
Ugh.
All right, next creature.
Man's got style.
Number 9, carrion eaters. Right now, we'll introduce you to another giant animal, the
Trying
giant
so hard not to laugh.
vulture. This animal in this show was probably Primal's version of the Argentavis, a massive, now extinct vulture that existed a long time ago.
Argentavis? I've been saying Argentavis in Ark for like maybe 8 years now, dude. What else don't I know?
In this show, they are a lot more massive, equipped with sharp beaks filled with teeth and a pair of large, sharp talons that allowed it to have a firm grip on its prey, or whatever it was eating. To show you the most brutal ways these things could kill, we first have to know how these beaks are used. And the closest reference we have are present-day vultures. These beaks with pointy tips allow them to pierce into a fleshy surface area and easily tear upwards.
Woof.
Similarly, our test subject would have to endure this. How long can a human survive? Well, here's a fun fact. Let's say the vulture ripped into the rib cage and ripped out the lungs and heart. Believe it or not, you'll still be able to see the bird rip these out. You'll lose consciousness in a few seconds though, given that there is no longer a heart to pump blood into your brain. In situations like these, you best hope these birds go straight for your head. But in terms of pain, there's almost nothing as painful as... Number 10, roasted alive.
Oh, goddamn.
We've reached our last method to die in this episode, and this method of death will be inflicted by none other than the Viking chieftain. Or rather, this version. After a quick visit to the netherworld, this guy was gifted powers and all the abilities necessary to take down Spear and Fang, which included immunity to surrounding elements, ability to form weapons from thin air, ability to launch flames, and morph into different creatures. This ultimately was the being that critically injured Spear. But this guy was a superhuman, unlike you, who's just a regular person with an inferior build to Spear. So what would happen if you got hit by these flames? This would be similar to getting burned by a flamethrower.
Although, not gonna lie, I've seen some horrifying stuff on Live Leak before. I'm not gonna say what I've seen, I'm just saying I've seen some horrifying stuff. And when people are set on fire, they're actually there's a bit of franticness, but once your nerves die, there's an insane peace. It's disturbing, that's all I'm gonna say.
These high temperatures would begin by burning your first layer of skin and hair is burnt off. But what is it about fire that kills you exactly? Well,
heat?
apart from the fact that inhaling the toxic fumes that are expelled from your own body can eventually kill you,
what?
Your body's muscles and fat tends to shrink once they're being burned.
Gnarly.
Those of you who cook steaks a lot will know what we're talking about. This done to a live victim is extremely painful, but it doesn't just stop at the muscles and fat. This also applies to your internal organs, meaning that your intestines, liver, heart, brain, and lungs will shrink as a result of the immense heat.
Whoa.
This is what kills. And it only takes a few seconds under these conditions. It is no secret that leaving existence in flames has always been one of the most terrifying ways to go, often followed up by grim aftermaths.
Oh.
If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more episodes like these, please subscribe and like this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
It's so hard not laughing at all the funny deaths, dude. I love to laugh so much I couldn't laugh today because my chest feels like it's on fire, but this video was still amazing. I think I did pretty good. Recording on COVID, doing my best. It's so hard to talk and like commentate and stuff. I think I did pretty good. I'm okay with this. This video was freaking awesome. Leave a like, subscribe down below, subscribe to Gojicenter too, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna go cough up some disgusting stuff from the bile of my chest. I'll see you guys next time.